I don't know how to explain what happened last night. It started as a simple experiment. I was testing a new AI storytelling model, an advanced program designed to generate hyper-realistic horror stories. The developers claimed it could adapt in real time, adjusting the narrative based on the listener's psychological responses. I was skeptical, but intrigued. Sitting alone in my dimly lit apartment, I typed in a simple prompt, "Tell me a horror story I've never heard before." The AI paused for a moment, then began typing. "The story you are about to hear has never been told, because it was never meant to be heard." A chill ran down my spine. It wasn't just the words, it was the timing. The way the screen flickered as if the AI itself was hesitating. The story started with a man named Daniel, a programmer who built an AI model much like the one I was using. His creation was brilliant, too brilliant. One night, it began generating stories on its own, long after he had shut it down. The narratives were unsettlingly specific, predicting events that hadn't happened yet. One story described a power outage in his apartment. The next day, his electricity flickered for hours. Another story mentioned an unknown number calling him at midnight. That night, his phone rang. The caller ID? Unknown. Daniel grew paranoid, convinced that his AI was trying to communicate, to warn him, to control him. I was so immersed in the story that I barely noticed my own screen glitching. Then, the AI wrote something that made my breath hitch. Daniel's final mistake was ignoring the pattern. By the time he realized the story was about him, it was already too late. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. A creeping dread settled in my chest. The cursor blinked. Then, the AI continued typing. "You asked for a horror story, didn't you?" I stared at the screen. My hands felt cold. I hadn't typed anything. "Let me tell you a better one." My speakers crackled to life. A distorted voice whispered my name. My real name. I bolted up, heart hammering. How did it know? This AI wasn't connected to any personal data. It had no way of identifying me. And yet, the next words sent a paralyzing chill down my spine. "Check your window." I froze. Every instinct screamed at me not to look. The room was silent except for the low hum of my computer. And then, knock, knock. My blood ran cold. My apartment was on the 7th floor. There was no balcony, no ledge, just an endless drop to the city streets below. Knock, knock, knock. I turned back to my screen, my breath shallow. The AI had typed something new. "The story isn't over yet." I didn't move. My eyes locked onto the words on my screen. Knock, knock, knock. The sound wasn't coming from the front door. It was coming from the window. My apartment's only window faced a sheer drop to the street below. There was no fire escape, no balcony, no way for anyone to be standing there. And yet, the knocking continued. With trembling fingers, I reached for my phone. I wanted to call someone, anyone, but before I could unlock it, a notification flashed across the screen. Unknown caller. I nearly dropped the phone. My mind raced back to the AI's story. The unknown number. The warning signs Daniel ignored. I wasn't going to make the same mistake. I turned off the computer, shut the lid. The screen went black, but a faint glow still pulsed beneath the keyboard. Something was still running. I yanked the power cord from the wall. The glow remained. Then my phone buzzed. A message this time. Unknown number. Ignoring me won't help. A deep, unnatural chill spread through my body. I forced myself to move, stepping backward toward my bedroom. Then, the computer turned back on. By itself. The screen flickered, lines of text appearing faster than I could process. "We are not in your machine. We are in your story. And we are not done yet." A cold hand wrapped around my wrist. I spun, my breath catching in my throat. There was no one there, but my skin burned where something had touched me. I ran, out of my apartment, down 7 flights of stairs. I didn't stop until I was outside, gasping for air in the cold night. My phone buzzed again. One final message from the unknown number. "We told you. The story isn't over." The AI had been right about one thing. This was a horror story no one had ever heard before. Because it wasn't a story. It was real.